going. Oh, still got some more. And with that, we're going to get our November breakfast meeting on Zoom. Can hardly wait till we are in person again. But special guest, as you know, 73rd Governor of Virginia. As the story goes that Diane told me, that some doctor walked into a Norfolk committee meeting one time, and they looked at, "Who are you?" I said, "Well, I'm Ralph Northam, and I just thought I'd let you know I'm planning on running for the 6th Senate District." And I guess we can say the rest of that is history. So, you have places to go, sir. So trying to get the elected officials. I want to go ahead and get them all introduced here, as I'm still admitting. And I saw we had, well, we already know Lionel Sproul, Senator Sproul is on, Congressman Scott is on the call.
Yay!
Councilwoman Courtney Doyle is on the call. Delegates Jay Jones and Joe Lindsay are on the call. The greatest sheriff of the greatest city, Joe Barron, is on the call. And I'm just going to go through it, and that might be it. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize.
I'm here.
Oh, there we go. Nancy, Delegate Nancy Guy is on there. Yep. Okay, and that might be it. Joni Ivey, of course, Chief of Staff or long-standing Chief of Staff. And there's a few phone numbers there, so I don't know without names if they're elected officials. Announce yourself. So with all the introductions, way to go, Virginia. We did our job. You know, we came close out there in the 5th. Dr. Webb ran a great campaign, but we hung on here, and our 2 congressional seats with Spanberger and Luria. She might jump on the call. So, and of course, we won by about 10 points, I guess. So we got that going for us. So enough of me. I want to turn this over to Governor Northam to give us his thoughts, and be on the lookout. I swear they're going to treat us nice. They're going to announce Pennsylvania for Joe Biden during this call. So that would be the greatest thing ever. So right. Take it away, Governor.
Well, I'm going to Budinsky in here, if you all don't mind. I just wanted to say thank you to you all. As the governor always says, when Democrats work hard and win, like you all have been doing, it makes such a difference. And I can tell you, in the world of early childhood, and really, when we really want to talk about social justice and equity, you know, we have to begin at the beginning. And we've been having so many really important discussions this year. It's so important, and really even all the way through to getting our economy back on track when this is over, we have to look at our youngest, our littlest learners. So I really wanted to thank you all. Because of you, we were able to acquire over $98 million in funding for early childhood in the last few years. Isn't that amazing? Over $138 million in emergency funds to get out to our wonderful early child care providers who have really stood up during this whole emergency and kept going during such a difficult time. Thousands of young people off of waiting lists and into quality early childhood education for caring, loving, safe, and educational spaces during this time. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your efforts on the ground mean so much and will mean so much into many future generations. So from my heart to all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll let him speak.
Oh, I appreciate that. Good morning, everybody, to you Norfolk Democrats, and Charlie. Thanks so much for your leadership. This is an exciting day. I don't know about you all, but I'm just so excited, and what a historic day this is. And Charlie, just like you said, they're getting ready to call Pennsylvania. Everybody needs to put their hands together for this country right now and this Commonwealth. So wow, what a day. And you know, we had a great day in Virginia. We re-elected Bobby Scott and Elaine Luria. They all ran great races, and Mark Warner, of course. You know, I don't know about you all, but I remember back in November 2016, I woke up on the morning of the 9th, and I swore, Pam and I did, that we would do everything that we could to make sure that this never happened again. And this is a happy day for me, and I just congratulate all of you. And I just wanted to say that, you know, I appreciate everybody's patience through this pandemic. On a little bit of a realistic note, today we announced over 2,000 new cases of COVID. This virus is still with us. So to all of you, take care of yourselves, take care of your families and your loved ones. And, you know, we're hoping that we get a safe and effective vaccination. But until then, we're going to be dealing with this, and that may be months. So anyway, hang in there through that. Charlie, you were making me reminisce a little bit. I remember walking onto the fishing pier in Ocean View, and I told everybody who I was. And I don't know if you all remember, Algie Howe was there, and I actually said, I'm thinking about running. And he said, are you running or you're not running? And I said, well, I'm running. And so the rest is history. But, you know, we've had a great run. And I thank all of you. This is a team effort. Those of you that get out there and knock on doors and make phone calls, and we meet, you know, once a month or more. And we can't do this. And I speak on behalf of all these elected officials. And we are so blessed in Hampton Roads to have the public servants that we had. I campaigned over this past year, and I was out on the trail with these men and women, and they're just wonderful people. And again, we couldn't do it without you. So let me just remind you that in 2017, because of you, we elected all 3 statewide. We were one draw out of the hat away from taking our majority in the House. And then in 2018, we elected 3 new congresswomen. They are fabulous. They've done just a wonderful job. We re-elected them this year, as you know. And then in 2019, we obtained our majority in both the House and the Senate, and obviously we have all 3 statewide. And look at what Virginia has been able to get done because of that leadership over the last couple of years. And I want to start, Charlie. Charlie said I had a couple hours, and I see Lionel's got his comfortable chair. So, you know, I'm good to go if you all are, Charlie. But I did want to kind of just talk about a couple of things that Democrats have done and why these elections make such a difference. But let's talk about voting. You know, I was on privileges and elections back in the Senate for 6 years. Every time we tried to make it easier to vote, the Republicans did everything that they could to make it more difficult. Well, now we have 45 days of early voting, no excuses. And think about what that does for our party to know who our voters are and make sure we get out there and they get them to the polls. And it paid off. And by the way, we're already talking about how we can make it more efficient and count those votes earlier. It was a little bit scary. I don't know about for you all, but for us, seeing some of the returns coming in this year on election night. And so we'll take care of that. But to be able to vote early is a big deal in Virginia. You know, now because of your all's leadership, Election Day is a holiday. We also got rid of Lee Jackson Day. We made Juneteenth a holiday. And let's think of all these things that have happened when Democrats are in control. Criminal justice reform. We raised the felony larceny now up to $1,000. People that can't pay their fines can still drive. I mean, I can go on and on. This past session, this special session, all the good things, no knock warrants, we took care of that. Decertification, the Marcus alert. I mean, I could go on and on. My hand is sore because I've been signing so many just exciting pieces of legislation. Think about healthcare during a pandemic. The Republicans want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. Can you believe that? We have now, because of Medicaid expansion, over 450,000. Let me repeat that, Charlie. 450,000 Virginians that now have access to health care that didn't have it before. So that's been a big deal. Pam already talked about education. We had historic investments in education. We have the G3 program, which is going to allow people to go to community colleges without incurring any debt, not having to pay tuition. We put investments in K through 12, early childhood education. As Pam said, we want to make sure all of our children have access to that. So that's been a good thing. let's think about transportation. Even during COVID-19, 64 is being expanded, the High Rise Bridge, and we just broke ground last week on the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel, a $3 billion with a B dollar investment. So, you know, I tell people I'm proud to be a Democrat, and Bobby Scott, you can reiterate this. When we elect Democrats, good things happen in Virginia. Wanted to just put a plug in for renewable energy. We just signed an agreement with North Carolina and Maryland. We're going to be leaders on the East Coast of offshore wind. We have onshore wind in Botetourt County. We have a number of solar projects. We're going to move to renewable energy totally by the year 2050. So all kinds of good things. And then the last thing I just want to mention, Charlie, and then I'll turn it over to everybody else, because I know you all want to hear from these other folks. But, you know, we got rid of discrimination, or we're at least working on that. The LGBTQ community, we just put in a historic piece of legislation this year to end discrimination in the workplace, in housing. And so that's really important. And what I'll leave you on, my friends, is that, you know, we live in a diverse society, and it's really that diversity that gives us strength here in Virginia and in this country. And so we need to be inclusive in Virginia. We need to welcome people to Virginia. And as long as we keep electing Democrats, we'll do just that. So look, Democrats, this is a day to celebrate. I mean, this is so big to get, and I'll just call him the current president. I'll be diplomatic, to get him out of that White House and get this country back to who we are as a people, as a society, as a democracy. A big, big deal. And it's because of folks like you. So keep up the good work, stay healthy. As you will be reminded soon, we always have elections in Virginia. It's going to be an important election in 2021. We already have great candidates. We need to keep our majority in the House and the Senate. So I'll be back in touch with you all, and we'll do this together. But thanks again. Stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and I really hope to be seeing you all in person soon. So Charlie, thank you for your leadership. You all have a great day, and let's celebrate. We've got a lot to be
Yes, we
thankful
do.
for. Thank
All
you
right.
all.
All right. You got time for a question or two?
Absolutely.
All right, Carrie, unmute yourself and raise your hands if you got a question.
Oh, there it is. Hi, Governor.
Hello.
We just passed that lovely redistricting constitutional amendment. Yay! I'm very excited about it. But I know that there's a lot of issues that have to be addressed that were part of the criticisms from the people who did not want that legislation to pass. What are we doing to get those things forward in place before our redistricting is needed and going to be done next year?
It's a great question. And also, just to thank you all, census was done this year, and we did very well in Virginia on that. Let me just very briefly on redistricting. You know, I've always been an advocate for nonpartisan redistricting. I worked on that when I was on the P&E committee. I actually ran on that during my campaigns. The current system, the current amendment is not perfect. What we have tried to do with our enabling legislation that I put as part of our budget, and that was an agreement that we worked out with both the Democrats and the Republicans. So we have enabling legislation, and we're going to make it as fair as we can. But also, most importantly, we want to make sure that no one side has an advantage here. And one of the big problems or drawbacks from the current plan is that if the legislature can't agree, then it ends up in the Virginia Supreme Court. And so we have to keep an eye on that. But as you all know, as long as we have a majority in the House and the Senate and in the governor's office, we'll be making the appointments to the Supreme Court. And those are 12-year terms. So they'll be coming up, and in time, you know, I think this will be a fair system. But that's a long-winded answer to your question, but it's something that we've paid a lot of attention to. There's legislation as part of the budget, which I just signed yesterday, that will make this as fair as we can moving forward.
Good. I just thought I'd pass on, since the introductions who've come on the call. Councilwoman Andrea McClellan jumped on. our fabulous treasurer, Dawn Hester, jumped on the call. And Councilwoman Angela Graves Williams has jumped on the call. So I'm a few extra elected officials. So, all right. Well, again, thank you very
Charlie,
much.
I had a question, but I don't know how to raise my hand on this computer.
Well, you're talking, so go ahead. And whoever's got the dog, let's go ahead and mute yourselves.
It
Charlie,
might be the
I'm-
governor's dog.
That's my wife's dog. And
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
don't mute the governor. Governor, this is Sheriff Barron down in Norfolk, your sheriff, I'm just going to say. And I just want to say thank you for being on this morning's meeting. But I also wanted to say thank you on behalf of sheriffs across the Commonwealth. We had a few concerns with some of the legislation that was coming across. The reform bills, there were a lot of the reform bills that we supported and agreed with, but there was one that we had particular concern with public safety. And, I know I sent you a letter and the VSA sent you a letter, and you listened to us and you made the changes, or you have ensured that the changes are being made so that we are keeping our public safe on our roads and highways. And I just wanted to say thank you for that and make sure that I let you know that we recognize that.
Sheriff, thank you for that. And, we have to move forward as a team, and we don't have a monopoly on ideas in Richmond. So thank you, Charlie. My dog is about to go crazy, so I'm going to sign off here, and you all can get on with your meeting. But thank you all for everything. Stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you all.
Back in the 757.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. All right, fantastic. Great things happening in Richmond, and we look forward to it. So moving on, Congressman Scott, resoundingly reelected, continuing his leadership in Washington. So, Congressman, go ahead and unmute yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. Watching Georgia this election, I'm reminded in 08, we badgered the Obama administration. You ought to campaign in Virginia. We'd been badgering candidates for the better part of 20 years because Bill Clinton almost carried Virginia, but he didn't even try. And all the candidates said, you ought to carry. And then I remember looking at Tim Kaine after Obama scheduled a bunch of rallies in Virginia, that he was going to actually campaign in Virginia. Can you?
Yeah.
V40 needs to mute.
Yeah, I keep muting and they keep unmuting. So V40 thin Q, please stay muted.
Okay, thank you. I remember back then that he started scheduling brief rallies and stuff and put resources. I remember turning to Tim Kaine and said, Tim, we've been running our mouth about campaigning in Virginia. Barack looks like he's going to actually do it. We got to produce. And we carried Virginia. And I know Stacey Abrams was probably running her mouth about you ought to try to campaign in Georgia. And they started campaigning in Georgia. And in fact, Barack Obama ended up the last day or so where? In Georgia. And lo and behold, they produced. And they haven't finished producing because there are two undecided Senate seats and we're two behind. And if we can win both of the Senate seats, then McConnell is no longer majority leader. Well, actually, Kamala Harris will be majority leader because she'll be the tie-breaking vote. But all of the legislation we passed in the House can be stopped by McConnell, or it can be passed by Chuck Schumer and Kamala Harris on a tie-breaking vote. And so these elections in Georgia, I think, one thing they're going to do, they're going to conclusively demonstrate the need for campaign finance reform. Because if Jamie Harrison can raise $50 million in one quarter, these two races are going to raise gonna raise that every week. So the focus will be there. My guess is that 99% of the people will vote either Democrat or Republican on both races. So we're gonna win both or lose both. And so, and both of the candidates, I think, were caught with their hand in the cookie jar, insider trading on insider coronavirus information. While they were saying how safe it was, they were profiting on the inside. So I think that message is going to be all over the airways. But we need to get ready to be able to put in our 2 cents worth in Georgia. Now, they've got ways that we can be doing phone banks. They've got ways we can be doing postcards. And obviously, they got ways we can give money. So we got to get ready to help Georgia, because the future of legislation, if we can pick up 2 Senate seats, then everything passes the House can be at least considered in the Senate. So look forward to it. It's not over till it's over.
Right.
And thank you. Thank everybody for your help. We had a good election. Elaine had a good election. That's because of the hard work of people in Norfolk.
Yeah. And of course, Congressman, who knows, you want to, maybe there's a Hail Mary out there still with Alaska. You never know, you know? Yep.
That wouldn't make a difference, because that would give us, we'd still be one behind.
Yeah.
And if the 2 Senate seats are going to go as a pair,
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yep.
you still, the advantage would be that Kamala could take a vacation every now and then.
Yeah, you know, every time I see a video of Kamala Harris, and I just think, I cannot think of more extreme differences between the current vice president and the one coming in. I mean, just opposite ends of the universe. But all right, well, thank you very much. Move on. Senator Sproul, you still on the call? What you got?
Yes, sir, I'm here. I just want to say to all of you, thank you so much. This president has set us back as for the relationship between black and white, brown, whatever you want to call it. We have gained so much in all these many years. We have gained so much trying to get along. And the way that you came out and voted, I want to thank you, because it makes me feel good to say, wait a minute, here now, I was born in 1946. The things that happened in the past, it's like it was, we were going back. And all the citizens of Virginia and across the country, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, black, brown, whatever, they all was voting not for a party. They all was voting because they were saying it's the man that was carrying this country back. We were moving forward, getting along greatly, and when we still have problems, but we were getting over the problem that we have had. It's along great. This man set us back. So we were saying, especially they were showing some of the red maps, and I've been up Charlotte every day, 24/7 watching this stuff. The red maps were voting for Biden, not because he was a Democrat, because they see is that our country was going back, and that this man was destroying our country. So I'm just here to say this, to thank y'all so much, everybody, that you did the right thing, not for a party this time. This time, it was for to save the country, not a party. So all I want to say to y'all is thank you so much. And let's never turn back the clock. Let's move forward and get along and make this a better country. Thank you so much.
Amen. Amen. Well stated.
Amen.
Yeah. Let's see, by seniority, I think that would be the esteemed delegate, Joe Lindsay. I think I have my seniority correct.
You've got it right. Thank you. Good morning, Democrats. Good morning. I will tell you that I remember 4 years ago being at the watch party that the City Democratic Committee threw, and probably about 10:30, I was sick to my stomach, and I just went home, said this is a bad dream. It'll all come together tomorrow, only to find out that my nightmare was my reality. So having watched the numbers have unfolded. Watch how as a nation we've come together to bring some effective change to what was utter lunacy in the White House. It's just been awesome to witness. I will tell you that the wait drives me crazy, but the outcome is what I look so forward to, and is very much within reach. As the governor has touched upon, good things happen when we're responsible in our election of good Democrats, and so what we see now is development not just on the national stage, but the things that we've been doing here locally and how it's made a difference. Things that we've been doing within the state that has made a difference. Much has been mentioned about what we've done to get rid of what, in my judgment, was voter suppression that had been put in place to keep people from voting. We now have better access to the voter box. We now have easier access to the voter box. We've got criminal justice reform that we passed this legislative session to address some of the ills that just had been going unaddressed, so that we have some response to the issues that are taking place on the national stage. I see a situation where we're being progressive in our response to social issues. We're being progressive and responsible as it relates to the financial crisis. And now I believe that we finally have someone in the White House who will actually look at trying to help us through this pandemic. So it's not about profiting and your friends profiting. It's about having a process in place that responsibly addresses the needs of the people. So we do it locally, we do it regionally, we do it statewide, and now we're going to be able to more cohesively do it nationally. So, it's a great day, and we move forward from here. Thank you, Charlie.
Well, thank you, Delegate. Delegate Jones.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Charlie. I'm glad that everybody is safe and healthy. I think we can all sort of cheer the victory that is about to be called. I think today, I'm going to echo what Congressman Scott, Senator Spruill, Delegate Lindsay said and say thank you, because every single year, Norfolk Democrats show up, whether it's for Elaine Luria, for Bobby Scott, for the president, for the House of Delegates, the Senate of Virginia, our local races. We do our job. And as I have gotten to go around the state for the last year, everybody talks about the energy in Norfolk and how critical we are to making sure that this state continues to go blue. So you guys deserve a big round of applause, because I know how hard you guys work. We all see it, and we are so eternally grateful. Now, I think, like the governor said, I will echo that we can't really take any days off here in Virginia, because I think we've all gotten up here and said we vote all the time, whether it's May, June, November, every single year. We can't take an election off. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed the last couple of days sitting in front of the TV, because come Monday, we've got to start over and do it all over again. And so I'll be asking for your vote. I know some other folks on this call will be doing the same thing. And so I hope that you guys continue to stay engaged, continue to push, continue to get involved in the process, because that's what makes this committee special. That's what makes our state special. And it's a treat to be able to engage with you guys all of the time. And I'm looking forward to what comes next. And so again, I would just say thank you. I know we've got other people behind, so I won't take too much longer, but I cannot wait to see you guys in person. I can't wait to sort of share in the revelry with you, because we get a new president in a couple of months, and that's the most important thing, and that's the most exciting thing. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate Guy.
Thank you, Charlie. I don't have a lot to add to the comments of my colleagues and Congressman Scott and of course the governor. I'm going to be a little bit of a downer. This is a great day for America, but we need to stay ever vigilant. I mean, as I sit there and I watch that ticker click over on CNN, I am struck by the fact that 70 million of our fellow Americans thought that the status quo under Donald Trump was okay. 70 million Americans, and 2 million of them live here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Norfolk is a wonderful place. I always delight in coming to your meetings. I always delight in campaigning there, because y'all are so rational and you're so well organized, and your Democrats really get it done. But I live just over the line in Virginia Beach, and even though Virginia Beach went to a Democratic presidential candidate for the first time since LBJ in 1964. We're really proud of that. And we also went to Elaine Luria and Mark Warner, so we got the trifecta. So, you know, your good efforts are starting to bleed over into we are able to get done here in Virginia Beach. But then by the same token, they rejected a wonderful candidate for mayor, former state treasurer, former secretary of finance, Jody Wagner, in favor of the status quo, which is a mayor who voted for the Second Amendment sanctuary cities, and who pounded her as an opponent of police, and who is now in the pocket firmly of the developer class in Virginia Beach. So we still have work to do here in Virginia Beach. Emboldened by that, Tim Anderson, who is a gun shop owner and lawyer here in Virginia Beach, who some of you may have heard of because he's been behind the recall petitions against Senator Lucas in Portsmouth, has already declared against me. I will probably have others, but he's a very frightening alternative. And it shows what is, you know, what the leadership, what the emboldened people on the other side of the political spectrum stand for and what they're willing to do. So yay for us, let's celebrate. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to represent both Norfolk and Virginia Beach in the current General Assembly and achieve so many landmark things that we almost can't list them all, but don't forget, 70 million Americans, 70 million Americans thought that Donald Trump being president for another 4 years was a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say the chair of the 2nd Congressional District Committee, Sandra Brandt, just jumped on the call. Way to go, Sandra. Great in getting such a resounding win for Elaine. You know, and before I move on to our city officials, I guess it's incumbent upon me, some of the folks on the call, and even those that can't get on the call, to thank all of the members of our committee, from Matoy as the vice chair, our area chairs, Larry Brown, Kim Brown, Bob Baxter, Tony Wagaman, Nick Jones, Carrie Buchanan, you know, all their work with their precincts, and of course our precinct captains, and then all of the folks who volunteered with them. So I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank each and every one of you for your wonderful hard work and efforts as Virginia.
Thank you, Charlie, for your leadership.
No, it's okay. And now, okay.
Charlie, I just want to say happy birthday to Sandra Brandt.
Oh, it's
and
your
I'm
birthday.
sorry she missed getting a happy birthday from the governor and his wife.
Well, happy birthday. There you go. A twosome of happy birthdays then. Happy birthday, Sandra, and we'll get you on the call here in a sec.
Hey, Charlie.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, somebody left a tile at my house when they picked up lunches, area chairs. Anybody missing a tile? Just, you can just, you know, text me, whatever.
Okay.
Sorry, just want to make sure they get it back.
Okay, absolutely. All right, Councilwoman McClellan.
Good morning, Norfolk Democrats. I echo everybody else. 2021 is going to be an important year, and I want to talk about that, but not probably what you think I want to talk about. Specifically, the General Assembly. The Hampton Roads Planning District Commission unanimously passed a legislative agenda that includes several items as it relates to flooding, including the creation of a Commonwealth Flood Board and a request that our legislators will consider flood disclosure with real estate transactions. Also backing and supporting continued regional efforts for offshore wind. Eileen, I know that will make you happy, as well as continued support for our regional broadband ring. So we've got some really good things happening there, and we're hoping for the first time ever to have some sort of coordinated day to lobby on issues related to flooding. As we know in Norfolk, that's such a huge issue. And believe it or not, there's never been any coordinated effort on that at the General Assembly. So to my delegates and senators, we would love your help and your support there. And I know Norfolk's going to be considering our legislative agenda package this Tuesday. So that's all I have to say for right now. Stay tuned. I'll have some more information coming about my future in the future.
I guess so. Angela Graves Williams.
So good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who worked the polls, everyone who counted ballots, everyone who volunteered. The volunteer efforts are truly, truly invaluable to our democracy as well as to our elections and to the election process. And so I'm really excited about the potential of a Joe Biden, Kamala Harris presidency and what that means for the country. The one thing that I will say I kind of am touched by is the same thing that Nancy Guy said. And that is that there are so many people who thought that for whatever reason, that more of turning 45 into 46 was a great idea. And so that is scary in and of itself. But I think that as we move forward, if we start talking to people and not talking at people, I think that we will be better off in the future, and we'll be able to regain some of that common ground and some of that dignity and decency that we have lost due to the actions of the 45th POTUS. So thank you to everyone who made it happen and everyone who got out there, not only and voted, but also volunteered. We could not have done this without you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilwoman Doyle?
Good morning, Democrats. I hope everybody's doing well today. I don't know about you all, but I didn't sleep much this week. And I know that Atoy, I want to thank you, first of all, for the service that you did, because you didn't sleep because you truly were down at the courthouse and in City Hall doing the good work on the electoral board. So thank you. I also want to thank Stephanie Isles. She has done yeoman's work to enable Norfolk to have a safe, fair, free, smooth election. And I want to thank our state folks also for allowing us to vote early. I know I went early to City Hall with my neighbor. And then we had 4 satellite voting precincts that were open for 3 weeks prior to. So having those 45 days and the ability to have satellites and drop boxes, thank you, thank you, thank you. It was just instrumental. And then I do want to say, with my council colleagues here on the call, we were pleased, honored, and humbled to give the day off to the city of Norfolk, to those who work in the city for election day. And it was a good decision. It was the right decision. And I hope many, many took advantage of having the day off to go vote and support others that were out there in the field. So I hope to sleep through the night tonight for the first time all week, because literally I did not sleep through the night. I've been waking up every few hours, looking at my phone, going to sleep, waking up every few hours. And I will say this, truly on election night around 8 o'clock, I'm watching this, all the crazy pundits. And I called a friend and said, do you want to go for a walk? And she's like, now? I said, yes. So I literally went on a 4-mile walk starting at 8 o'clock at night. And then when I came home, it was still the same craziness on TV. So I just said, forget it. But then of course I woke up and looked at my phone and then slept and then woke up. So anyway, I look forward to exercising not at 8 o'clock at night because of anxiety over the election and having a good sleep-filled night tonight. But I just want to thank you all. This is an incredible, incredible city party. You know, I've known it for now 25 years. I've been married to my husband now 26. So I guess I've really known it for 26 years. And I'm just really pleased, honored, and thrilled to be a part of the family of the Norfolk City Democratic Party. And I want to wish Sandra Brandt, again, another happy birthday. Sandra, I hope you have a great day. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you. Dawn Hester, our great treasurer.
Good morning, everyone.
All right. Love that backdrop.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep it up until we get the final call. And I thought you were gonna call on Joe, because you know I'm the junior constitutional officer, as they always remind me. Which
I understand.
But I
Joe's very long-winded, Don. You got to go first.
Okay. Okay. I too want to offer my thanks to everyone, and on behalf of the campaign, the Biden campaign, and the teams that we work with in collaboration at the state level. We did a very good job, and you know, we know what we're doing, and we hope that folks will ask us what we're doing so that they can do the same thing in their states. so that we can continue to build on the blue wave and change into purple and just helping ourselves to be a better country. And yes, as others have stated, we do have a ways to go, and listening is going to have to be a big part of that. We cannot erase past, any of our individual past as people, but we can't erase anyone else's either. And so we're going to have to figure out how to do a better job of living and helping everybody to grow. I do want to share that the campaign, as you all, most of you know, the transition is beginning, and candidates, secretaries are being selected and talked to at this time. But also the transition team, as it is developed, will be looking to hire. And so if you're interested in those positions, please be on the lookout for that. I'll be engaged in some of that, not as at the level that I was for the campaign, because I don't have that. But anyway, I'm gonna be involved in that. And so if you're interested in any positions, just shoot me a text or email, let me know, so I can make sure that your name gets in the hopper with some recommendations behind it. The other thing, and this is personal for me, I love being the treasurer of the city of Norfolk. And in my future, yes, I do plan to ask for your support, because I do plan to run again. We have been doing a great job, and I'll tell you more about all of that coming up, but the office is running well. We're doing the best that we can in this COVID time. We do know that a lot of people, a lot of our businesses are struggling, and we're still putting those payment plans in place to try to help people to get over this hump and the slump that they may be in. But we're doing well, and we are collecting and leaning and garnishing, because that's what I'm supposed to do, but we're doing it in a way that I believe is compassionate, but still collecting responsibly for the city so we can continue to function. So anyway, everyone have a blessed day. Until my dear friend Sandra Brandt, we would celebrate our birthdays. I'm October 7th, she's November 7th. And so we always would get together. And so happy birthday, Sandra, to you too. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Dawn. So you're saying this is my last chance at my ambassadorship to Ireland, huh?
Hey, Charlie,
right.
can I jump in 1 second, please?
Sure.
I just wanted to say that the treasurer's office, Dawn's office, is doing a great job. She and Evans have worked very well together in making sure that not only are the funds properly collected and allocated, but over in Evans's office as well with regard to business licensing and vehicle registrations. It's very difficult when you have an office that's used to seeing people, and then all of a sudden you go to not seeing people and doing everything virtually. But they have really been doing yeoman's work over there to make sure that for as smoothly as possible the offices can run, they have been running. And so I want to thank Dawn and Evans for what they have done for the city of Norfolk, because it could have been very different had they not been on the same page and had they not worked together to make this transition seamless.
Yeah. Good staff, right? They got good
Yes,
staff.
absolutely. Good leadership and good staff.
All right. I guess accused of being long-winded, but Sheriff Joe Barron, I'm sure.
I'm here. Thank you, Charlie. And I will always bow to being second to Dawn Hester. I appreciate our treasurer very much. I just like to say congratulations again to Virginia. Congratulations to Democrats, Congressman Scott. Congratulations to you, sir, and Elaine Luria and Mark Warner. And I do want to reiterate the wonderful job that Stephanie, did with the voter registration and making sure that the votes were being counted and taken care of in Norfolk. I think probably better than anywhere else in the state. And so that's great news. And happy birthday to Sandra, my good friend. and I appreciate you. I want to just start with our community outreach. We've been doing a terrific job at the Sheriff's Office with our community outreach. We received an award from the Life Enrichment Center recently, within the last couple of weeks, for our work with children. We know we have children that are in our school systems that struggle with reading. And we joined 3.5 years ago with Life Enrichment Center in line with what the police department was doing. We have staff that go out. We have over 20 staff members that go out and help volunteer teaching children how to read. And right now the program's back up and running. We're doing it online now, because it had stopped because of COVID. But we got an award for that and a recognition for that, and we appreciate that very much. The other thing is for community outreach, I've been selected as the regional District 3 chair for Special Olympics and the annual fundraising for the Torch Run. All money goes to the Special Olympics. And so I'm excited to be the chair for 2021. And, and hopefully we'll set a record with fundraising in District 3. Inmate programs, as we all know, 96% of the inmates in our facility are coming back to our community. And, how they come back is very much dependent on the types of opportunities we offer them while they're in our jail. We've got some new programs that we've started. We have the medical assisted treatment program, which is a program that helps, inmates who struggle with opioid addiction and other addictions. And the medical treatment is a evidence-based program, and it helps inmates who are transitioning back to the community from incarceration to prevent them from that need and that desire to go back out and use as soon as they get back out, and gives them, fills that gap until they can get into a treatment program back in the community. And we help them with that. That will help them with their success. It's an important program. We recently had a large graduation of inmates who participated in our cognitive drug treatment program and reentry classes, which will include the MAT program. I was very proud that the mayor came to the graduation ceremony inside the jail, to help celebrate these men who were going through this program, doing what they can to better themselves. And finally, related to inmate programs, we have a brand new partnership with the Calvary Revival Church and the House of Esther. The House of Esther donated a bunch of computers for us so that we can use those for virtual learning for our inmates in the GED program. They also are doing the volunteer work to teach GED inside of our facility via the computer system. Could not be more grateful for that. And I applaud Rick James and Betty Potts and all of our inmate programs team for helping get that done. Pam Castellanos, which is Councilwoman Graves' sister, does a fantastic job for us as well, especially doing the chaplaincy part of going out and helping our inmates when they're grieving and they receive the news of someone who has lost a loved one while they're incarcerated. And finally, I'd just like to say that our staff are doing really well. The morale is upbeat. We have 0 cases now of COVID-19 for our staff and for inmates, which is great news. I don't know if you saw recently, Virginia Beach just had a big outbreak out over there. We also, Colonel O'Toole and I both received certifications over the last couple of months from the Virginia Sheriff's Institute. We are certified. So I'm certifiable and I'm certified. Which is cool. On some sad news, last time at the last breakfast, I reported the loss of an employee, and I have to report another loss of a valued employee. Lieutenant Jason Giovinco Montano lost his longtime battle with cancer. He went through 4 fights with it. He was a beloved member of our organization, and I would just ask you all to keep him and his family in your prayers. Services are going to be on Monday, and it's just been a sad time for us. And then finally, I'm just going to echo what our great treasurer said. There's at least 3 incumbents that are going to be on the ballot for constitutional offices. I think all 3 of our offices are in better shape today than they were 3.5 years ago. Our treasurer is doing a fantastic job. Our commissioner of revenue is doing a fantastic job. And I'm just going to pat myself on the back. We are changing the culture of the Norfolk Sheriff's Office. And our mission is sound and our values are sound. But I will tell you, our purpose is to make a positive difference in the lives of others. And we look for opportunities to do that every single day. And I will be running for sheriff again next year, along with my colleagues, Dawn Hester and Evans Poston. And I look forward to that campaign, and maybe the 3 of us will be lucky and we won't have anybody challenge us because we're doing a great job. But it's always something that's going to happen. But I love the support of the Democrats and all of you, every single one of you. Norfolk steps up like nobody else. And I couldn't be more proud to be, born and raised here in this great city. And Charlie, you and your team and Toy and the leadership that you guys are providing is just fantastic. And I know I'm long-winded and I'm going to end there. And I'm just going to say thank you to everybody.
All right, thanks, Joe. And I forgot to mention, and as I was going on the committee accolades, you mentioned Betty. Of course, Betty, in the times of pandemic, trying to get folks registered was a unique challenge. But Betty Potts, want to give her a shout out here as well. And hey, and Sandra, you got messages from the 2nd Congressional District?
Good morning, Democrats. I do. Thank you so much for the happy birthday wishes. It's a great day. I'm 39 and I am really happy to be that age. Thank you so much for all the hard work Democrats did during this election. And I want to thank our General Assembly members. And the reason why is someone yesterday from the Virginia Pilot called me for comments about why Biden won Virginia. I told them, first of all, I think that the General Assembly were the first people that came out and gave us the right to be able to get out and vote with no excuse and be able to get in line for its hundreds and thousands of people across the state of Virginia to be able to get out and vote early. The excitement was great. And I appreciate all the work that the Norfolk Democratic Committee did during this election. Thanks to your chair. Thanks to Linwood Fisher, who jumped in as our liaison this year. We had a great voter protection program, and on election day, we had very few issues to deal with. So thanks for all of you that worked so hard. We have a lot of work to do. We have our General Assembly members here, and next year we kick off all of our races for the GA, as well as our constitutional races, of which many are on this call, and as well as our governor, lieutenant governor. So we have a lot of work to do. Thank you for what you did. Elaine Luria was a trooper. She got out there and we all worked hard. We cleaned her office out on Thursday and got ready for the next group to move into our office. So thank you so much for everything. Thanks for the birthday wishes and keep up the great Democratic work.
Well, what a great segue, Sandra, to a recent arrival to the call. So we will turn it over to none other than our Congresswoman from the 2nd Congressional District. Congratulations, Elaine Luria.
Yay.
Hey, good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Sandra, and everybody. I just wanted to hop on and thank everybody for all of your really hard work. Again, this time in the time of a pandemic, it was an unusual time to campaign. But everyone, the precinct captains, the folks who were out at the polls day in and day out and, knocking doors, making calls, it made a difference. We pretty much creamed him this time. I tripled my vote margin from 6,000 to 18,000 and won by 5 points. So hopefully he's done and we'll quit running for things. But, this is a tough thing to hold on to this seat. I'm actually the first Dem since Owen Pickett to win it twice. And we all know that 22 is going to be really hard because I'll be at the top of the ticket. There's no presidential or Senate or anything else. And every time, after, God willing, Joe Biden is in the White House, there's always a big wave. In 94 and 2010, we lost 50 to 60 seats in the House. So this will be a target all over again. So I kind of feel like we're back at work now for 22. But obviously got a lot of great folks to support here in 21, our local folks, and then we've got the whole ticket for governor, lieutenant governor in Richmond, and some of our local folks as well running for those seats. And so I'm here to work, here to support everybody in 21, and just thank you for everything that you've done and that you continue to do to support Democrats up and down the ticket.
All right. Thank you very, very, very much. All right, that brings us to 10 o'clock hour. I guess if you want, we have maybe time for one or two questions since we didn't start until about 9:05. Anybody got a question for any of these fantastic Democrats?
Charlie, I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a box of lit from the campaign for Congresswoman Luria's campaign, a box of lit. Where can I drop that off?
If you want to return it back to us, our office is still in the same place. It's the 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard office there, and we'll take back lit, yard signs, anything that is left over, and we still have lots of those. I voted early in Virginia as for voters t-shirts that we got from the Biden campaign. So if you want to stop by and drop anything off and grab some t-shirts, we have all of that there in Virginia Beach. That said, I did give the team this weekend off because they worked really hard, but they'll be back in the office on Monday, cleaning up and straightening up and getting ready for 21 and 22.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right. I don't know if the question is from Joy or Rashawn, but Joy or Rashawn?
It's Joy. Thanks, Charlie. This is more of a request. Some of you may not know this, but I am 100% Latina. My first language was Spanish, and I was very concerned with the Latino turnout, with the Latino vote during this election. And I would just really like to request from anyone on this call that if you can use me for phone banking, for knocking on doors in certain communities where you would like to reach out to more Latinos, please do so as soon as possible. And I've asked many times, where I can call, where I can get involved, and it's been difficult. So yes, please use me.
Charlie, I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Congresswoman Luria and Senator Guy mentioned the national picture, and I just wanted to hear from both of you what you see as the future nationally as far as Democrats and Republicans working together and what they could accomplish. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody want to tackle that?
Yeah, I can jump in, Charlie. Selene, thanks, Jem, for the question. I would say that it's a situation, where the control of the House and the control in Senate are in opposite parties. Obviously we have this pickup opportunity with these special elections in Georgia that will happen after the first of the year. But as we currently sit, the Republicans will hold the Senate, and Majority Leader McConnell has not been super friendly to pushing the House agenda across the finish line. I think the dynamics will shift. I think that because we'll have the White House and Senator McConnell in the Senate, that a lot of the bipartisan negotiating that can and should take place would be between Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell. And there is obviously the will on the Democratic side to work together, to work across the aisle, and to push a lot of these things forward, especially another COVID relief package, which is much needed. And the Senate has pretty much prevented from moving, since May, when the House passed its newest version. I think in the House, and especially with our Virginia delegation, and people probably heard me say this before, we're the only delegation in the country that meets routinely. All 11 of us, plus both senators, on a bipartisan basis. We meet every month. Our chiefs meet every month. And we work together on those things where we can find common ground and things that are good for the Commonwealth. 89% of the bills that I introduced were bipartisan, and the president just signed my 8th bill into law, which was also bipartisan. And I worked with Rob Whitman on that for the 5-year reauthorization for Chesapeake Bay funding. 2 weeks ago, he signed my 7th bill into law, which was a pay raise for disabled veterans for the 2nd year in a row. And so I have really prioritized the working with my colleagues across the aisle, and I'm part of 2 different bipartisan caucuses, both the Problem Solvers Caucus, there's 50 of us in this Congress, so equal number Democrats and Republicans, and the 4 Country Caucus, which is all veterans. There's about 24 of us, and we work a lot on the veteran and military family issues. So, from my perspective, I'm working hard, and I know, Abigail Spanberger as well, is another, one of our members who is in a seat that's very much like the 2nd. We both, really look for those opportunities and look to work across the aisle, within the House and then in the Senate as well. And I know Senator Tim Kaine, he's part of the Problem Solvers has a Senate component called, it's like No Labels, but so it's a bicameral component, and he participates in that as well. So, I think that always goes on, but the narrative, I think, under Biden administration should and will shift. I think that, there's really the need to have a olive branch and reach out. And for me, I feel a personal responsibility to talk to all those people who didn't vote for me. If you look at my results, I am not that popular in Poquoson, for example. So, but, I did do better in Accomack County than I had before. Folks, this is kind of a joke. And I thought if a reporter asked me this, what I would say, like, when did you know you had won? It was actually at about 8:05, believe it or not, when I saw I doubled the number of votes on Tangier, that I was going to do okay. I went from 14 to 28. But it was obviously a long night because 200,000 of our ballots were absentee or early vote ballots, and those took a while to report, and they're still coming in. And actually, the more that come in, the more our lead widens. So we're actually winning by more than we were on Tuesday. So I hope that helps answer the question. I think there's just a lot to be seen, as we move into the new Congress and as the Biden administration puts together the cabinet, and, how those relationships, work out from the administration to the members in the Republican Senate.
Well, good for you. As someone who has familiarity with elections on Tangier, that gets right up there in Ralph Northam territory. I think he got 30-something votes there once. So, no, that's great.
I still got work to do then.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yes, Bobby.
Charlie,
Yes,
let me just add that I think you cannot overestimate the impact of the Georgia special elections.
No.
Like I said, I can't imagine people splitting their vote between Democrat and Republican on the 2 races. So either we're going to win both or lose both. The value of winning both means not that a bill will pass, but it will be considered. A lot of stuff can pass, but if McConnell doesn't bring it up, it won't be considered. So minimum wage, college affordability, and all the other stuff, environmental legislation, police reform, won't be considered. And appointments, particularly executive branch appointments and judges. Trump keeps talking about the 100 and some judicial vacancies that Obama had at the end of his term. There weren't vacancies because there weren't appointments. There were vacancies because McConnell wouldn't call up the confirmation. They talk about whether, when and how you fill vacancies. I saw one statistic, and I've got to check it, that no Democrat in 100 years, no Democratic president in 100 years has had a Supreme Court judge confirmed by a Republican Senate.
Wow.
Charlie, a question for Bobby.
Say again?
Charlie, can I ask Bobby a question?
Yes, sir.
Bob or Elaine, either one. If it's 50-50, will McConnell still be in charge?
No, the vice president breaks the tie, just like in the General Assembly. If it was 50-50, then the lieutenant governor would break the tie. We had 50-50 a couple of years ago in the Senate. And I think by a deal that was cut, you agreed for the next 4 years to see how the Senate would operate. And I think that was protecting both sides from the loss of the lieutenant governor in the mid-Senate term election. But basically, anything that comes up, straight party line vote would be 50-50, and the vice president will break the tie. So on a motion to bring up a bill, 50-50, Kamala votes, bring it up.
What about judges? What about judges?
50-50, confirmed on doing a 50-50 split.
Thank you.
And so that's the, if we don't have the majority, and I'm not sure, but I just thinking back, I don't know, you got to go back. You can at least go back to Johnson. I don't know that a Democrat, the Democratic president was able. I know Obama and Clinton both got both of theirs in the first 2 years when they had a Democratic Senate. In the first couple of years when they had a Democratic Senate. But if McConnell doesn't have to consider the confirmation for a judge for the last 10 months of the administration, when does the clock start? And in any case, he can slow walk it. He can say, okay, we'll do about one a month. And they just pile up and you never get much consideration. And you got to consider, it's hard to get people to accept appointments when they don't know if they'll ever get confirmed. I mean, if you're running a law practice, say, how'd you like to become a district court judge? Oh, that'd be great. When do I start? Well, I'm going to appoint you tomorrow afternoon, and when McConnell gets around to confirming you, you can start. Well, 6 months later, can I take new cases? I mean, what the hell kind of law practice am I running? At some point, you say, well, this isn't happening. I know the Goodman Timmons, who was running for Congress in North Carolina, former Supreme Court justice, who ran a competitive race, was not successful in North Carolina, was appointed. Her nomination lasted about 9 months before it just evaporated. So if we win those, if we lose one of those 2 seats, then that's what we're looking at. If we win one of those 2 seats, it doesn't mean that Joe Manchin's going to vote for everything that AOC wants, or that we can get through the House, but at least it can come to a vote.
Yeah.
And that's the, and the nominations, I'd hate to have to populate a cabinet and wait for Mitch McConnell to get around to doing something. Also on committee, on committee ratios, 50-50 with Kamala, a motion will be made to have a 1 Democrat majority and a Democratic chairman on all the committees. That motion will pass.
Good. Thank you.
If in that way, the investigation, what you investigate, what you bring up, what you vote on, not that it's going to pass, but that you can vote on it.
Right.
It's not like the General Assembly where you go down the list and bring up everybody's bill. You don't have to bring up anything in Congress. And so there is a huge impact, and we won't know until early January. Like I said, everybody get your checkbooks out because it's going to be expensive.
Yeah, money is going to flow. I understand. All right. Well, we're running a little late. 2 more questions. John, you got a quick one?
To the question earlier about what happens if the Senate is split 50-50 between Democrats and Republicans. It looks like the party of the president winds up also becoming the Senate majority leader. However, it's sort of watered down a bit because the Senate majority leader and I guess the Senate minority leader have to negotiate a bunch of stuff other than that role. So we would still have the tilt in power, but it wouldn't
not necessarily, because you can, if a motion is to bring up a bill that can pass 51-50 with the vice president,
Right.
That tie-breaking vote is a vote.
Yes.
And the ratio on committees. Democrats will be chair of all the, if we win 2, Democrats will be chair of all the committees. And we'll have a 1-vote majority on all the committees.
But Schumer wouldn't be considered the majority leader.
Schumer would be the majority leader. So he makes a motion, bring up the bill.
Right.
McConnell will object, and the Schumer's motion will pass because he's majority leader, 51-50.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
It is a real majority.
Yes,
Right.
thank you.
And I guess last question, and Carrie, and then we'll move on on this beautiful Saturday.
Yes, I saw on the news, on some not so heartening news this morning, that the president has fired, it was the person in charge of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, AID, and another one that I thought was related to nuclear power, or what's the implications for that on a very short-term basis? Because I'm wondering if it's also about, okay, now I can suddenly take control of these things that I didn't have real control over before.
My view is that you better fasten your seatbelt because it can be ugly. I think the Congress needs to be prepared to impeach the president during the lame duck session because he may just become so irrational and bizarre that the lame duck should be presided over by Mike Pence, not Nancy Pelosi, Mike Pence, because of the irrational unpredictability and that the powers of the executive branch exercised by a lame duck Donald Trump are a threat to our democracy. I don't know that we'd have to exercise that, but I think the Senate has to be ready and prepared to go forward. You have a lame duck, unstable president able to launch without recourse a nuclear war. The Secretary of Defense has resigned. I don't know who his backup is going to be. So wow. It may get a lot worse when it occurs to Trump that he has in fact lost the election and that he is no longer immune to prosecution for tax fraud and everything else. That there may be no limit to the bizarre behavior to expect.
Well,
the only defense we have is impeachment.
Congressman Scott, is the Congress ready to do that right now?
Excuse me, the House is prepared, in my judgment, with evidence to respond. The whole problem has been, and whether he will leave office on January 20th. I don't think there's any question. He has no intention of leaving office on January 20th. The question is whether the Senate will back him up. I think there are enough senators mumbling that he cannot expect the Senate to back him up on a takeover. He has suggested, as people were afraid, that Pennsylvania doesn't have to send to Washington, D.C. a list of Democratic electors. They can just send a bunch of Republican electors. That gives Donald Trump the Electoral College. I think the Republican leader of either House or Senate said that ain't gonna happen. And so we can breathe easy that there are some people that, the democracy depends on people being dignified, keeping their word. And with the appointment of a Supreme Court justice, when you said you wouldn't do it, and being able to line up the votes within 24 hours, breaking your word, really raised questions about the future of democracy. But I think what I've heard in the last 2 or 3 days, that people will respect the will of the people, even though it's close. And that they're not going to just send in a list of electors, notwithstanding the actual results of the election, leads us to believe that democracy is going to survive.
All right. Well, I'm almost speechless at some of the concepts that we're just discussing, but I agree. The
Well,
institutions.
when you start
of
having to
law,
answer questions like that, what would happen if they did it?
Yeah.
I tossed out, I don't know if I did it on this call, but I tossed out the question when we swear in, if nobody gets 270, then it's state by state election in the House. Okay, Nancy Pelosi swears in members. We fabricate, there's a contest in several of the North Carolina, so we're going to swear in 5 of the Democrats and only 3 of the Republicans, and pull that stunt in enough states so that we got 26. What happens when that happens? When you have to address questions like that, you know the Democratic experiment is over.
Right.
Hey, Charlie, can you hear from Elaine on that? Has Elaine got to say anything about that?
Let's see. I don't know if she hopped off here.
Sorry,
No, she's on there. Yeah.
I'm still here. I think that out of what Congressman Scott said, I think as a country, what we have to be hopeful for is that, the senators, the Republican senators will do the right thing and not continue to follow blindly, behind these suggestions of lawlessness that the president is insinuating, not so discreetly. They're very overt and they're wrong. And I thought at previous points in the past that there would be people who would stand up and speak against this, and there haven't been really. So I continue to be, in disbelief about that. But the things I'm hearing now do make me believe more so that the Senate will do the right thing and not fall in behind supporting his baseless claims. But I think we all have to wait and see and be prepared for what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I've been having the TV over here and I have not seen a call, but I want to thank everybody for being on the call, all of our elected officials. Like I said, Norfolk is represented by spectacular people at all levels of government, and thank you all. But I want to end merely with this, if I can pull this off. The Norfolk City Democratic Committee, our decision desk has come in, and our decision desk is confirming that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been elected. Anyway, thanks everybody. I wanted to end hopefully on a happier note. So let me stop share. And again, thanks everybody. Good work on the elections. And hey, next year we do it all over again. Thanks everybody.
Yay! Thank you. Congrats, Dems.